And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Here comes Hurricane Abby. Right. Courtney, can you hear us all right and you're all set?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Great. And all right. Do we have any added agenda items this evening? I don't believe so.
No added agenda items, but the board may want to consider moving the student rep report towards the end of the agenda. Our student rep is at a track meet and he's going to be a little bit late. So I know it's usually one of the first things on the agenda.
Do we want to put between you and public participation?
We could do that. Under motions?
Sure. Where we put it? I'll make a motion to move the student representative report to between liaison subcommittee reports and public participation, so it would become 10.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Who was the second, Kate? Heather.
Heather was the second. Sorry, Fran made the motion, Heather seconded.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have the minutes from September 24th. I would entertain a motion.
Make the motion to accept the minutes from the 24th, September 24th. Second.
All right, so motion made by Betsy and seconded by Denise. Any further discussion or corrections or items to mention in the minutes? All right, no further discussion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I'll just abstain just because I wasn't here.
Okay, Heather's going to abstain. And Courtney, are you all set with the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
All right, next on the agenda, we have public participation.
We have a public.
I was gonna say, do we have anyone from the public who would like to speak?
Mr. Public, welcome.
Are you just joining us to listen or?
Just listening to that.
Okay. All right, and then we move the student rep. So next we have the Broadbrook Elementary School report on the agenda.
Just give me a moment to get there.
All right. Hello.
Fast, he ran right by us. The track, he was ready to go.
Down on the agenda a little bit, so we'll have to wait until the reports and then we'll let you know. You're gonna go.
Joke. Not my best race, but.
Oh, he's here, what?
We said he just raised it.
That's very a trap, huh?
All right, all
Okay,
set.
thank you.
So we're here tonight. We wanted to introduce to you two new programs that we started at Broadbrook School to help cultivate a positive culture and attendance. So Being Possum and Biscuits Best Attendance Club. So I will be speaking about those this evening.
So, as a reflection of the portrait of the graduate, we're looking at ethical and responsible citizens. Obviously, if you are here, you're a reliable citizen and you're able to be doing your learning and making sure that we recognize them for doing the right thing. We want them to be great communicators and act in the ways of kindness and making sure that they are part of their class and part of the teamwork. They want to have a growth mindset where they are resilient in their behavior and also showing up daily. Lifelong learners, self-monitoring and self-regulating themselves, and also critical thinkers, positive solutions and solving attendance challenges for themselves.
So these also align with the district goals, with goal 1, which focuses on instruction, as well as goal 2, which focuses on equity. So with the Being Possum, students are behaving, then it will maximize instructional time, reduce disruptions. And if they're coming to school, then again, it will increase their learning time and help to build that routine and sense of belonging within the school. Goals 2, equity, Being Possum, you're reinforcing respect and belonging, recognizing all students. And at both of these programs, we're working to engage staff and families as well. With the attendance club, of course, we're looking to reduce those gaps in attendance, and if students are coming to school, then they're certainly going to feel a part of the school community, as Matt was saying in the previous slide. So why are we focusing on behavior and attendance? As we know, strong attendance and positive behavior support access to curriculum and relationships. Attendance is one of our goals that we have as a school, to have less than 10% chronic absenteeism. And then also we want to be able to recognize our students' positive behaviors in order to build their confidence and their sense of community within the school. So the positive behavior recognition program, being Possum. This actually came as an organic thing through our staff. We had a staff member last year, about middle of last year, who said, I have an idea, presented to the entire faculty. The entire faculty took to it. So last year, it kind of started in smatterings. Some grade levels latched onto it more than others. And as we started the year this year, we said we're going to do this whole school. So staff are working to actively catch students, and it can be any student at all who are meeting our behavioral expectations, demonstrating positive choices. The students receive a paper paw print. You can see this young man holding up his paw print as recognition. They write their name on it. They put it in their bucket in their classroom. And then every Friday during lunch, names are pulled out and those students receive a small little token or a sticker. Those names are then held for each month. Students are then celebrated with a photo opportunity with biscuit, which is a big deal. And those photos are hanging outside in our showcase outside the cafeteria for all. Around the school to help students think to themselves about how they can earn a paw. For those students who are youngest, who can't read all of these words yet, just that idea of how can I earn a paw can help to signal to them what they need to do. But for those students who are a little older, who can read these words, it does define specifically what they need to do during the course of the day in order to earn a paw. So it could be being safe, walking calmly in the hallway, being a good friend, sharing supplies, somehow going above and beyond by doing something extra for somebody, being responsible or being respectful. So
Biscuits Best Attendance Club, what we've been looking to do is to try to get our overall attendance every day, 95% well on here for our students themselves. And then we also want to get our chronic absenteeism to 10% or less. So one of the ways we try to do that is to find, okay, how can we excite students about coming to school? What is the one way we can just say, okay, what can we do to make sure they want to be here? So what we did was we started this incentive program. It recognizes and rewards students not only in their class, but as a whole class, but also as a whole school. So particularly today, we actually did our individual one. Students were able to come and we played bingo during their specials time today. On Wednesday is their time that they have a secondary opportunity to do a special. So we use that today as our opportunity to play bingo. We told them why they were there. We explained to them, this is for having great attendance. We played the bingo. Did a little number sense with that with some of our younger ones. We started figuring out, okay, like 72, 72. We really had some fun with that. But what we also did in thinking about that is one way we were talking to students is first rule of the activity was we're all here to have fun and it's not everyone's going to win and that's okay. But what we wanted really to say is we're happy that you're here every day. This gives you an opportunity to do something a little fun. If they did win the bingo game, they picked something small out of the prize box and they brought it back. But really it's a way for them to know that we care, that we want them here. So we're really trying to build routines and build that understanding that we want you here. And if we're here, there's that reward. At this age, sometimes it's that thing, but we know that not only is it that thing, but being in class is going to help them to increase their instruction and what they can learn.
Are there 272 students at bingo?
So not all at the same time. No, it's all at the same time. So what we did was we each grade level had their specials time. So it would be so grade 2 would come down, they would sit, they would do their game, then we went back and then the next grade level went in. So it was K through 4. We had it today. this really helps to elevate our school climate, to really bring everyone in, increase the number of recognitions per week, not only for the possum, but for the attendance. We want students to know that we care about them. We want them here. It goes along with all of what we've been talking about in our SEL, that we're building this community, and we just want everyone to know that they are recognized and cared about here at Broadbrook.
So, any questions?
Will you guys be presenting a follow-up to this with the absenteeism and referral?
Sure, absolutely.
So what we also do is each month, we've been sending out a letter to families to kind of let them know where their students are. If you actually also walk by the, our main entrance, we have looks like Biscuit playing basketball. And each grade knows per week how they're doing in their percentages. And actually, one of the other things that one of the students asked me to do, which was one of the fourth graders, until he realized their grade wasn't the highest, was to rank them so they know where they are in the ranking of the top 6. So he realized that all of a sudden he was in 6th place. I went, I got to start talking to my friends. So yeah, you do. But it lets them know kind of, I mean, there's always that competition. I think kids want to have that competition, but we want it as a whole school to be above that 95% and then that chronic absenteeism to be below 10%. So yes, we can bring that back.
Yep.
What is the rate that we currently are at here?
We ended the year at 12.
So it's a little bit different right this moment. If you have 2 or more absences right now, you're chronically absent for the year.
Right.
So it goes for, so right now, if I'm correct, we were at 16.1%, but that doesn't take much for 2 days
Yeah.
to be absent.
Okay.
Really, it's like I said, it's a hard one. Our overall attendance, we were at 94.9%. So we were almost at that 95.
49, I thought.
No, sorry. Yeah. 94.9%. I'm sorry about that. 94.9%. Really close to that 95. And then really what we're trying to do is also target those grade levels that are having the most difficulty. We do notice kindergarten can be tough. First time in school, sometimes they're getting through those initial illnesses. Same thing with pre-K. One of the big surprises this year was really our 4th grade and number of students that we heard were going to the Big E. And that affected the number. So, but now that that's over, we're kind of hoping that that's going to come back into a regular number.
And then this also fit with our MTSS process because grade 2 started off the year struggling to meet the
Yes.
95% mark. And so through our MTSS process, we met with them to create a tier 1 action plan to help ensure that students were coming in and that targeted them specifically
And that number has increased since.
has increased. Thank you.
Welcome.
Is this taking the place of what you were doing last year with the grade? Every month, one of the grades got a special whatever because they had the best.
Yeah.
So that's going away this other thing.
What was recognized is, well, one, this aligns the same with the middle and the high school. The middle and high school are doing something extremely similar to this. It may not be Biscuits Club, but they're doing something very similar. But so that we've made sure we have that alignment amongst the from K to 12. The other part that we really recognize is that it kind of left out all the other grade levels for those students who were participating and have been here. So it really recognized more students than less. We still have a whole school incentive. So if we are at the 95% by the end of the month, then we're going to do a dress down day or some kind of activity so that we have that. So we're still looking for the whole, but we're trying to make sure that we're recognized more.
Because I know last year, I mean, it was very popular for Evelyn because the 2nd grade won like 7 of them. You know, they were like,
Yes.
Yes.
and I did think last year, I'm like, well, you know, that's great for them.
Right.
But the rest of the kids are kind of not getting the pajama day and all. So,
And it's like today, all of these kids who came to school, they were playing bingo. Yeah. They got recognized.
So what about the discipline referral rates? What did that look like for last year?
So it was higher last year than it is so far this year.
Okay.
So we are tracking that on a weekly and monthly basis, through our MTSS process. We have, some individuals, who struggled last year. We're continuing to struggle this year that we're putting plans. We had plans in place for them at the end of last year that we're continuing those plans and in some cases changing them. But that's being looked at very closely through the MTSS process. And in fact, we just met on that today. So, yeah.
Well, I think it's really interesting that the staff was the one who came up with the idea, and they have the whole school invested in it, and the staff all invested in it. Whole school idea is commendable.
It's great that that staff member felt comfortable enough to bring it up to the, the entire crew, and and everybody else latched onto it. Okay. All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda, we have the curriculum report.
So, good evening. So curriculum update, this evening, we'll go through, some of the achievement from our SBAC, performance, this past spring. Go ahead, next slide. So a couple of things I'll update you where we are right now, and then I'm gonna kind of ask you to take a look in your packet. Because there's a couple of slides I want to, remind you of that, were in place several years ago. I think it gives you kind of a full picture of where we were and where we are now. Much in this kind of couples along with what Laura said. So what we're currently doing, reviewing data. Our last curriculum council, we talked about our MTSS process. So continuously looking at our data, identifying deficiencies, and then making adjustments as we see the need. Continuing to focus on improving our achievement, and then aligning, obviously, our instructional practices to helping students succeed wherever they might need additional supports. So the problem, and this is something we talked about at our last curriculum meeting. After reviewing all of our data, our problem is East Windsor students are not demonstrating consistent or equitable growth across subgroups and meeting grade level expectations, particularly in math and ELA. As evidenced by persistent persistent proficiency gaps in state and national assessments. So before I kind of delve into this, in your packet on pages 14, it mentions the previous problem of practice. And that previous problem of practice at the time was our students across all tier 1 instruction were not hitting standards, grade level standards, in ELA and math. And our goal at the time was to be in the top third of all Alliance districts by the spring of 2025. So the charts that you see following that past problem of practice signifies the growth we made. So you have 2018 and 19 school year, and then this past spring, which is 2024 and 2025. So you say that again?
I was blown away by the increase.
I'll tell you, it's something I know, Patrick, myself, the administrative team are very proud of. And it's a clear picture. But I go back and some of the conversations we've had at Curriculum Council and here, the MTSS process, that was the problem. And we've done a great deal of work. We still have a tremendous amount of work to do. And one of the things that we think will help us get to where we need to be is by focusing on these subgroups. Because when we say all of our students, we do mean all of them. So it's something that we are going to obviously have these conversations. Talked a great deal at our curriculum council last week about the subgroups, how MTSS is broken down, how we go through that data process, and it's going to help us kind of get to the root of this problem. Couple of the solutions. So it involves building teacher and leader capacity. We talked about MTSS. We've talked about professional development, how to do MTSS. It's a real system, and we'll be talking about that at an upcoming curriculum council meeting. Continuing to strengthen tier 1. So we talk about tier 1 as the base for our students. But then obviously, over the last year or so, we've talked about tier 2 and tier 3. What are the additional support students need on top of what they're getting every day in the classroom? And that's really that conversation, and then monitoring, obviously, that subgroup performance.
think anything like those graphs, I think are amazing graphs to get out. Like, what are we doing with those, or how can we get those out to the community, to the parents? Like, what is, I don't know if you guys have thought of something like that, but I just was looking at those graphs and I'm like, wow, that's really amazing to see the progress. And obviously, we're still recognizing that it's not where we want it to be, but I mean, you can't deny that that's amazing progress. I think we talked about this a lot. Who's seeing that? Like, who's knowing that? We know that, but like other parents probably in the district don't know that. The community doesn't know that, and so I feel like this needs to get out. And like those graphics are just a very easy thing to see. It's not hard to see, and I don't know that Facebook's gonna get it everywhere either. You know, so. And usually we just get picked on because we're not where we're supposed to be, even though no one wants to recognize that that's amazing. So just food for thought, like something I think that really needs to be thought of, whether, I don't know if it's like a newsletter or an email or something, but the graphics you can't deny. And I think it's easy for anyone to read those, but just something that I think as a whole, we need to work on making sure that's getting communicated to people better.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I don't know what kind of follow-up, maybe we can follow up with that, because I feel like we bring it up a lot, but I'm not sure that in the end, I want to make sure that there is something that happens with that.
Is there a plan for sharing that?
I mean, I feel like we have in a number of ways. I mean, we were recognized by the state for our achievement. We did put out correspondence to all families. I mean, the data that Daryl's speaking to is why we were asked to participate on the release of the state assessments, being one of 4 districts. We have put that out. We were one of few districts that were asked to participate at the legislative, I want to say panel, with the state and, the past April, based on the progress and work we've done, in the district regarding science of reading. I can tell you, I talked to, Mary Conway, who's our consultant through CAPS and the, which is Connecticut Association of Public School Superintendents, and their partnership with the State Department of Ed. I asked her to do the second cohort of science of reading, and she was just stating how much she loves working at a district, our district, the work that we're making, and excited about taking that, working with us and taking that work further into the secondary levels.
I think this, I mean,
Yes,
Yeah.
that's for everyone, like, cause like, I don't, I
But
know
we send out
people
5
want, like,
graphs. I
aren't
think.
reading this
Yeah.
whole article
People
about
don't
it.
understand
I
the
don't know.
graphs.
Like, some people don't get that that's like this big deal that you were
Yeah.
recognized for that. I'm
I
just
mean,
thinking.
I can
it's
tell you, like, we put the articles out in the Village Voice, we highlight the work in the annual report. I mean, certainly open to suggestions. I mean, this is recorded, it's on the website.
I don't know, like, something, I know we already had like open houses and stuff, and we have like teacher conferences coming up, but I don't know, like even like a little
on the
board
bulletin board,
of
yeah.
when people are coming in and we're celebrating the progress that we're making here. We want to show you guys, and it's like a visual or something, and you're gonna get a lot of these, at least the parents in the community are gonna see these when they're going to conferences or open houses and things like that. And it just may be like, you're getting hundreds of people at a time. I mean, sometimes people aren't even opening their emails, like honestly, right? So it just might be like an easy visual graphic of something that could be.
An article about the awards that you get is one thing,
Yeah.
but the visual of this is my child's progress is just, I mean, I wasn't even associating this with that award.
Yeah.
Now it was just to me like, oh my God, this is such a great progress.
Especially when you hear people in town saying, you spent all this money and what are we getting out of it?
Yeah.
Well, this, you are getting this out of it.
Yeah.
Is there a way to kind of do more plain, there's such a thing as plain language, right? And so what I'm thinking as you discuss it, as you're talking about this, graphs are gonna mean not a lot to a lot of people, to a lot of parents. They mean a lot in the state level. They mean a lot to us because we're kind of looking at that kind of stuff. But how do we, and I'm not quite sure of the answer to this, how do we communicate in plain language what it means for your child?
I think in plain language,
Are very-
if you took 5 years
Yellow
ago
line and a
versus
yellow
now.
line, yeah.
And from the, and you know, like, let's look, here we were and here we are.
Yeah.
Where are we gonna go?
Is it
Possible to perhaps take this whole presentation and put it somewhere prominently on our website.
And we can just link to it.
So that you can just link to it. I mean,
Something that's working.
in the past few days, there has been, I mean, just talk about it, because why not? This whole thing, because Niche put out their things.
Yeah.
And Niche, the for-profit marketing firm who wants you to work with them and pay them is not the harbinger of our reality. But we don't have anything that you can go say to the people who are getting just a little nuts about this. Here, go look at this. And honestly, I think in all of the presentations that we get from Daryl relative to our progress, and we all know we have work to do. We have work to do. There's absolutely no doubting that. But in 4 years, we have come a tremendous way. We went from being number 5 to being 3rd from the top. That's not an easy thing for our staff, our students, for anybody. And we really should be able to get that out to people who, some people will go find it, and other people who just want to be negative. We need to be able to get it to them. So you say, okay, here, okay, fine. You look at whatever Niche is telling you. I want you to go look at this and see that we went from the bottom of the rung to the top of the rung in 4 years. And we rightfully are admitting we still have work to do. So maybe if you could just put the presentation somewhere that we can just link to it.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely put it on the website. I mean, one thing I also want to put out as far as like the Lions District too, is that's like our comparison group. And I know it states 36 districts. What I think sometimes gets lost in that number is those 36 districts represent 44% of the total student population in Connecticut too. So when you have 3 out of 36, you're
That's
talking about
huge.
almost 50% of the students in Connecticut.
Can I ask another question, Daryl, back to our what we're going to do? So I could be wrong. I'm looking at this as we've made great strides over the past 4 years to get us to that tier 1 where we are, our teachers have come along, the whole system has come along to get us to this strong point where we've reached. And so now we are at the point where we can start diving down into those areas where we definitely have issues with the equity and the gaps and all of that. And I believe that we're at that point to be able to do that work on those subgroups and not jeopardize what we're doing where we were, correct?
Correct. Yeah, and that's, and I think it was the previous slide, Noreen, that it's the maintenance of tier 1 is prominently listed there at the top because that can't get lost in translation.
We can't shift, correct? We have to maintain.
You have to maintain,
Doing that.
yes.
We can't take the.
Yeah, and if you go back several years, I mean, we've talked about, even when we first introduced iReady and some of the literacy or the math assessments, we talked about triangulation of data. So that those were things that we never had, and we weren't able to properly look at our data to determine what we were doing. But now that we've got some of those pieces in place, it's far easier to do. And the next several slides, and I don't want to minimize it, but it's there. Go through the English, the math, and the science trends over that earlier period. Gives you the number of students who are at or above or meeting this grade level standard, and then the students who are still below goal. And that obviously those are huge shifts. I also put on the bottom of each of those slides some of the things that we've put into place. So for instance, ELA, we've changed the curriculum there, we've changed the resources, math the same, science the same. So we've made slight adjustments at each one of the levels. So for elementary, middle, and high school. So I have all faith that that's going to obviously continue. And the practices we've set up here in district with our walkthroughs and our professional development and our willingness to kind of have open and honest conversations, what's working, what isn't. That's gonna keep us moving forward. You want to kind of skip through those? Any questions?
I don't have any questions. I just want to commend everybody. You, Laura, and Matt, you're the only ones here tonight. The rest were there. Because
Took the
from 2019 to 2025, we have made tremendous progress. Granted, we're not where we want to be or where we should be, but we have made great progress. And it took a lot of work from everybody, from the administration all the way down to those kids, and everybody should feel proud of themselves for being able to put graphs like this out that show if you put it in and you put the time, and you put the resources, and you have the supports that are necessary, you can achieve. Now, unfortunately, it's a slow process, but it's a process that's working. So thank you.
No, kudos to the board. I mean, it's a lot of, you have a lot of support here, so that's much appreciated. So.
I obviously with the perfect world, 100% of all kids would be, but like, what's the realistic like level that you would ideally want it to be at? Like, what's the realistic level?
So, I mean, yeah, realistically, yeah, I want, I want all of the students to perform now, whether that's realistic or not, but I'll use terms from the MTSS. So MTSS considers if you have 80% or more,
Okay.
that is your tier 1.
Okay.
So anytime something falls outside, so attendance, I think, Laura referenced, if we have 80% of our kids coming every day, that's good. Once it gets below that, that is a tier 1 issue. So it could be for Broadbrook, the middle, the high school, whatever, but you can take the same concept and use it, whether it's behavior, whether it's academics or what have you. If you focus it, so, we talked about looking in and diving at this data. If you focus it into one classroom, is the attendance in one classroom better or worse than, maybe a whole grade level? Well, it's a tier 1 issue in that class, but maybe not necessarily the whole grade level. So do you need to provide those supports across the grade level or just that class? So really kind of diving in and taking a look at it now. 80%, I would not be happy with 80% of the students at or above, because that means 20% or below. But, if we're going to look at, overall systems, that's really kind of where we look at that
And
number.
that's why the focus on the said group now is to kind of.
Correct. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know where to find me.
All right, thank you very much. Oh, all right, did we say student report was actually number 10, would that be next, or is it the liaison committee and then student report? Okay, yeah. So liaison and subcommittee reports, do we have any liaison reports or subcommittee reports from
committee. Just report quickly. Most of you were there, so, we are working hard to try to get a communication plan put together. And I think that's where we're headed, at this point. If we stopped and looked, I stopped and looked prior to the meeting as to the goals that had been set by the Board of Selectmen versus where we are in the process, and we have accomplished a lot. We still have, some hard decisions to have to make, and probably can't be made until spring, because that's when the legislative session is done. And at that point, we know how much funding we will get. There's no point in torturing ourselves on more decisions as far as what we're doing. There's no more design that needs to be done or anything like that. No more money being spent on that, but the public needs to be engaged. I think is what the whole committee really felt is the most important. We've been saying it for a couple of months, but I don't think we've been really listened to real well. by some of our, partners, because they seem surprised that we want to communicate. And that is where we need to go. They're planning possibly to have, some kind of forum where the public is invited to come in and, share their thoughts. We'll do some kind of presentation or something, with some professional help to make sure we get the message clear and correct. That was really the big focus, I think, of that meeting. And anybody else that was there can certainly. I'm very sorry, very sorry. No worries.
No, it was not you, it's just a general state of the day.
I think that's all I have.
So I have a question. Because I know this has been addressed in some of those ad hoc meetings before, but none of us, to my knowledge, have still met the consultants, like the golden egg.
We have tried.
So I guess my gosh, it's, yeah. So what has been the barrier with that? Is it just coordinating with them in terms of our ad hoc meetings? Because I know our ad hoc meetings kind of get around. Like I'm confused because I feel like it's the same conversation.
Join the club.
Yeah, I mean, so what was explained from CSG is that Golden Egg is more about like the marketing and that you have to put a plan in place. And because, we really need legislator assistance as far as going through special session to get a higher reimbursement rate, which is not unique to us. A number of school districts do the same thing, but that session is not till April. So from their position, until we say, like, we have the funding, this is what we're doing, then they will market it. My understanding, my takeaway was essentially, what we are requesting is more like leading into like the referendum as far as, okay, these are like the rationale behind like, maybe having to choose one project over the other, depending on funding, engaging the public in preparation for the referendum that was my takeaway from the last meeting. So with that, I mean, obviously we recognize that like April and May is too late to really engage the community if we're looking to do a referendum in the fall. We really have to do it organically, internally, and take the steps to do that outside of Golden Egg was my takeaway from the last meeting.
So I was gonna say, so it seems like there's a loose plan. There's concepts of a plan with the ad hoc. Would it make any sense for the Board of Ed to initiate some of those town halls? Because I feel like, and it, not to discredit anyone here that's on the ad hoc committee, but I feel like things kind of just get lost between the time, between the meetings and things like that. I wonder if it would make sense for us to coordinate it just to be more efficient and keep on track with the timeline.
I don't have an issue with that. I think that's a not bad idea because at the end of the day, it's the Board of Ed's responsibility to make the tough decisions. The ad hoc is only advisory. So for us we could do it in conjunction with the Board of Ed or the Board of Ed and the Board of Selectmen, because they're the ones that have to call the referendum and all of that and agree to the money that we're gonna spend on it. So it could be a bigger picture of all three. I certainly don't have an issue with that.
I'm just
We've been
thinking-
trying.
Yeah, I'm just thinking
No.
doing something like last year, mind you, the town hall that we had last year was time sensitive because we needed a vote. But if we could coordinate something simple like that, which just a quick, 1 hour town hall, in conjunction with ad hoc, but the board maybe be responsible for coordinating that. I wonder if that,
I was confused because I thought that was kind of what we were talking about, because Patrick, you had a great idea about kind of tying it in the middle school that we could do
Yeah, the way I
something.
thought was left was we were going to identify some school events.
That's what I thought too.
Like essentially that are high and
Yep.
attended to be open to all.
Yeah.
But at least we knew that like we'd hopefully get a high number of parents and families looking at the school, calendar. So that meeting was just Wednesday.
Yeah.
But we're still thinking about that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was.
Yeah, so like not to rush the process, but also like I would hate to see this continue to linger on.
Oh,
know,
yeah,
from
we're not.
No, but we do. So we do have some opportunities coming up with, I mean, especially like band and chorus are usually well attended. I will tell you, Mr. Field had the good point that a lot of parents have to drop their kids off, 30 minutes prior. So there's a window there too, where, you know, you don't even have to take a large amount of time, but you can get an audience, by piggybacking off of some of the things that are already taking place.
And I think what we talked about, at our last meeting is we talked about in the absence of nothing, that we would be writing a something, Patrick.
Yep.
And then we said, let's put a hold on that until after ad hoc. Are we still thinking? of doing that?
I already had an initial draft prior
Okay.
to that even meeting. Now, after that meeting, there's some updates.
Yeah,
So it is something that I'm going to work.
I think we should, because then it kind of feeds into the other, again, we can talk about the process or what's happened right to date. We don't have to even get into the specifics about the referendum or anything else. It's just the stuff that has been done. And when we looked at some of the timeline, when whatever his name is, I can't remember his name.
Jim Giuliano?
Jim kind of put down all those things that had occurred. There was quite a bit that.
There was a lot. Yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize.
But I got the impression that Jim was going to help us with the public outreach, no?
I've
Because he
gotten
took
that
all the-
before, but
Well,
I
yeah.
mean, I think that would be a matter of maybe somebody needs to follow up on that.
Well, we have scheduled meetings, so we have one, I think, coming up soon. I thought maybe not.
And if we provided the information, were they gonna design a flyer or?
Because that-
the-
yeah, that was the
Like
piece
a
about-
trifold, like a trifold or something.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with like Gabby and Betsy. I think that, I mean, I do think that the ad hoc has to be involved. I mean, not only just us board of ed members, but like other people who've been involved. It's been a big commitment. But I do think that optics wise, it looks good for the Board of Ed to be presenting some information out there. Because I think that we want to build the parents and
Right.
community
The
members
link.
behind everything. And I think sometimes coming from a different angle, it may not hit the right audience.
Kind of committee
Yeah.
that people are following.
That people understand.
So I do think like the Board of Ed should maybe put something out at some point and then like maybe see what Jim's got.
And then something right away, right? And then if they want to do their trifold, like nice, you know,
We do that. Maybe.
zippy, zippy thing that they can do it down. And he has, that it's pleasing to look at, right? That he could do that for us, right? What do you think?
We'll have that conversation.
We didn't really get, because the confusion I had was, I was thinking that the golden egg person was in lieu of the other person.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that the same
Kinda
scope of
clarified.
work would be the same
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that was what the.
But if you look at-
extra was for that, but they said that, no, he doesn't.
He's not doing
does
that.
what-
It's not the same scope of work. I looked at what they proposed, the scope of work, whoever was
Yeah.
before. And
You know, and that's what I'm saying. It's not.
Yeah, a referendum specialist, I guess, is different than a marketing group. And that wasn't clearly kind of delineated when they said, oh, they're gonna do this instead. Like, they didn't say it's not a referendum specialist.
They're gonna do the same thing.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's a different conversation, obviously.
It's just move forward. Let's just move.
Yeah.
forward, Right?
Can I just add something?
Sure, Courtney, yeah.
Almost just from hearing this conversation is exactly why I think the Board of Ed should just get something in motion, because I think if we don't, we could be just waiting for Jim or the Golden Egg or whoever else. I just think it's really important that we as a board get something out there.
All right, so what's kind of next? I mean, Patrick's gonna look at some dates to propose in terms of having some kind of informational session at least.
Yes.
All right, I guess my other concern is we're not meeting again this month, potentially the Board of Ed. So if there's something where you need us to have a special meeting or, you know, look over information in terms of a flyer or in terms of setting up a date for an informational session before a concert, if something comes up that you need, a quicker response, just let us know
Okay. No,
in terms
appreciate
of that, because we're not gonna be meeting again until early November. As a full board.
Is ad hoc meeting illegal?
That's the first Wednesday.
Yes.
Well, we can always meet earlier.
Yes, if we have to, that's not an issue.
All right, was there anything further on that?
No.
Okay, were there other liaison or subcommittee reports? Go ahead, Noel.
Finance subcommittee met tonight, and we're not meeting again in October, so we will catch up the board in November for everything from basically the beginning of the year. Things are fine, things are looking fine. Brian is, he's been focusing on the auditors are coming this week, and get that over with, but, everything's looking the way it's supposed to be looking, and we'll have more. Brian will be here with more details in November.
And things are looking good so far as the audit. He was saying next week.
Yeah.
The audit visit, and he's not aware of any concerns at this time.
They haven't asked him for anything outside of what they've been looking at, which is
Good
good.
news.
I think you went to last Board of Selectmen. Was there anything?
Nothing
There was
pertaining to us.
pertaining to us on the agenda?
Nope.
Does anybody else have any other subcommittee or liaison reports they wanna?
We have CIP, but Board of Ed hasn't come to yet.
So tomorrow.
Mhm.
So we present tomorrow. Yep.
I believe if you still are interested in getting pies, PTO can take orders through tomorrow.
I bought two today myself.
You go on their Facebook page and get all the information.
Okay.
Courtney, did you have anything to add as far as liaison or subcommittee?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so next on the agenda, we do have the student representative report. You can look back at our packet. And
So for the Broadbrook Elementary School, they welcomed over 300 families to the open house on September 23rd. Students proudly guided their families around the school, enjoyed popsicles while parents connected with several community booths highlighting school and local resources. This month, Broadbrook Elementary School launched a school-wide positive behavior initiative, Caught Being Possum, to recognize students who model our pause expectations, practice kindness, act responsibly, work through problems, and speak up with respect. Students in classes earn pause from staff for positive choices. Their names go into classroom possum buckets. Friday sessions, and each month, one student per class is celebrated with a special photo with biscuit. The program reinforces a safe, caring, and positive school community. East Windsor Middle School has been buzzing with activity. Students are gearing up for student council elections, and the hallways are filled with colorful campaign posters. After-school clubs have officially kicked off, and students are already showcasing their creativity through an impressive lineup of 14 clubs.
wow,
Highlights include the game club, where students enjoy board and card games, along with a variety of art-focused options such as rock painting, craft club, sharecraft, and sketch club, all of which have quickly become student favorites. East Windsor High School would like to highlight the artists of the month. Each month, the art department picks a student. Their artwork is displayed on a bulletin board at the high school, and they are featured that month in the school's 5 quick things about East Windsor High School parent communication. September's artist was Caitlin Rouleau. Here's what Caitlin said about her artwork. I started drawing at the ripe age of 2 when I was obsessed with drawing princesses. My favorite medium to use is any kind of paint, especially watercolor, because my great grandparents on my mother's side often painted with them, making beautiful landscape paintings. Some of my inspirations stem from my childhood obsession with princesses and their dresses, as well as niche movies from the 1960s to 80s. My favorite subject matter is anything I find cool or funny, like my dog or historic fashion. Rogo dresses specifically. Caitlin exemplifies what it means to be a lifelong learner through her passion for art and her commitment to continuously growing her skills. She's not hiding her paint with pride, and she's truly proud.
Thank you.
thank you very much. All right, next on the agenda, we have public participation again. Do we have any public participation? Public. Okay, after hearing that discussion, do you have anything further you would like to add? All right, next on the agenda, we have miscellaneous. Do you have any miscellaneous, Patrick?
Just that we've had, 2 sessions of flag football at Broadbrook. We have 14, students participating. After school, deputy chief, helped out, the first session and, the kids seem to be enjoying it. I was out there at the end, yesterday and, seems to be going well. And, kudos to the person who designed the t-shirts.
They're having a blast. And you know what, just to add on to that, I find it great. I think there's 14. Yeah, 14. In both weeks, parents are coming early and staying and watching the entire thing. So the kids are down there playing and it's really nice to see the hill with parents and brothers and sisters and whatnot. Just watching it.
That's
No.
good.
Evelyn's having a ball. There's 3 girls and they're holding their own with those boys.
Just wanted to commend, I had a great experience today. You know, my kids are here in town. My youngest is at the middle school. He's usually a walker. And I got a phone call. It was like just a little after 3 o'clock from the school. So of course, you know, you're always like, what's going on? And it was with Screen in the main office. And she said, "Hey," she's like, Sam's usually a walker, but I saw him get into a black Jeep and I'm pretty sure she probably wrote down the license plate. I was like, is it okay that he went in that Jeep? And I just thought like, I appreciated her so much for calling and I just wanted to just say like that's a great gift and part of being in a small school system is like someone's gonna actually see that and know like that that's not the norm for your kid. And I just wanted to commend them because I thought that was above and beyond that she recognized that. And he was allowed to know.
All right, did anybody else have any other miscellaneous items? All right, we had a few things in correspondence. Is there anything you wanted to mention in particular? It looks like 2 letters.
Yeah, 2 donations and then
Donation.
enrollment.
I just noticed like their enrollment from last year, that there was
Yeah, I
a
was,
bit of a drop from last October. Do we have like any feedback on why that's happened? Or no?
Just, a lot of kids moving in and out,
Yeah.
not necessarily attending other schools.
Yeah.
Mostly moving out and in, and the ones that moved out, it didn't offset with the ones that moved in.
so this is this October at, enrollment, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
And the
Yeah.
other one is last year.
So-
Okay. Board
Yeah.
rules.
Well, yeah, the bottom chart is last year for
Yeah.
all months.
Yeah.
And then the top chart is this year's for October. And you have to look at like, in terms of like grade 3 kids last year on June 1st would now be grade 4 kids on October 1st. Like you kind of have to make that jump, but there
Yeah.
were, I did notice there were still, so like that class, grade 3 was 72, now it's grade 4 is 69. So that class was pretty close, but there were a couple of classes that I had noticed as well that had kind of drops.
From June,
Yeah.
from the end, from the June to now,
Yeah.
it's about 156 kids. And
Yeah,
I know kids come and
Yeah.
go. Patrick, do we do any, figure out what happened with
Yeah.
those 156 kids? Like, did they go to Catholic schools? Did they pull out to go to charter school? Magnet?
I can get, it's not hard data to pull as far as those that we know that like, like as far as our withdrawals and enrollments, as far as, yeah, if they went to, we would even know if they went to private.
You would know if they went to a private school?
Yeah, because they would have their school record.
Oh, records would go with.
Yeah, so we'd still know that.
There's like a drop, which is, and I'm not sure where kindergarten fits into this, but in June, our kindergarten population was 90.
Yeah, kindergarten's always so kindergarten's always unknown.
yeah,
Yeah, so I will say kindergarten's always unknown.
but like, yeah, if grade 1, if kindergarten was 90 and now grade 1 is 65, that seems like a
And-
big.
I just feel a need to, at this point, make a small correction. It's not 156 kids, it's 156.
56 now.
Because it's just a big thing if that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
that would be massive.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't worry,
Don't
sleep.
don't worry.
Yeah, I think it-
There's still a lot of kids. for-
It is.
That's a great. I'm just curious, Patrick, like,
Yeah.
if we can figure out,
Yeah, I can,
is it,
it'll take a little bit. I don't know if I'll have for very next, meeting,
well,
but
that's fine.
we can get some data on it.
Hey, Patrick, we know which kids, so primarily the choice kids are in elementary. Is that, am I assuming correctly or incorrectly?
I can get the breakdown because they,
Okay.
obviously they transition, but I mean, our
Yeah.
total number is the same though. I mean, last year we
Yeah,
had
yeah,
73, we
yeah,
have
so
72,
yeah,
this
yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And, the preschool is, you have to remember that's, age 3 and 4, so that's not, that's not like.
They're not all gonna move the
Correct.
same way.
So you can't read into that as far as preschool going to kindergarten because a good portion of them are still doing preschool. They're just moving to the older preschool.
And could they be from someplace else in our preschool or they're just all East Windsor residents?
No, I mean, this year we have 2 staff members who have
Okay.
kids in our preschool
Yeah.
program. We have another staff who did we did change the policy, enroll their student in the middle school. I believe we have another one being enrolled there in middle school. So staff are taking advantage of the policy to allow. So I anticipate we'll be up to 4. The information is still relatively new. So I anticipate number of staff will increase. Now, to what extent, I'm not sure.
But the choice cutoff is done, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
It almost looks like, I was gonna say grade 7 said it had 86 and now grade 8 has 76, so that's like 10 kids there too, right? Or grade 6, maybe it was grade 6 that I was looking at. It says they had 85 last year and now grade 7 is 70 this year, so that's like 15 kids in one grade, potentially.
Yeah, I mean,
So you said it could just be
the
kids
quickest
from
way to
grade.
pull the data, it would take too long to do the individual withdrawals and enrollment. But the quick way to do it is we can pull, obviously, we know what enrollment is. We do know what magnet school enrollment is. So we would have a side by side
Lessons,
comparison,
yeah.
see if there's how much of a change. And then we could just pull like from those that withdrew, was there any significant increase with like homeschool and private? So those would be really the 2 numbers that we'd have to
Yeah.
do a little bit of research, but it's not a significant number. I do know that we do have more kids attending BOAG and tech programs. So I do know that there was an increase between Cheney Tech and Rockville, but not to the tune of 50
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
And that's but I know because we had to accommodate for some increased busing needs there.
Do we count? So my question is, who counts those kids?
Do they count as?
Do they count as East Windsor or they?
They count, so like if you go to Cheney Tech, you count towards Cheney Tech's.
Okay.
If you
Okay.
attend Rockville, you.
That's where they
Yep.
count.
Yep.
Patrick, on the kindergartners, did we have a lot of anybody requesting waivers for this year because of that age?
You should defer to Laura about how many on that.
I think it was 8 back in the spring and then we just had 2 that we just did. I think it was about 8.
How does that compare to the first year?
The first year was greater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it'll probably go
People
down.
getting used to it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's really, it seems to be just parent, preference to what their child to start kindergarten. Yeah.
All right, and then do we have need for an executive session?
Yes.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Second. Right. Motion made by Heather, seconded by Fran. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, so executive session,